Coming to you from an ash and smoke-covered California commute, I'm RJ Balde, and this is the TRICHOMES Hash It Out podcast. On this show, we feature conversations about trending cannabis topics. We also bring in industry insiders and influencers to discuss their point of view. In this episode, I'll be talking to Leo Bridgewater about how his experiences as a military veteran and a black man in the United States fuels his passion for cannabis advocacy. With the election quickly approaching at the time of our recording, we'll also talk about the current state of cannabis legislation in New Jersey and the nation at large, how to be a Jetson in a world of Flintstones, and much, much more. Without further ado, it's time to hash it out. Today, I am joined by Leo Bridgewater, New Jersey-based cannabis activist, military veteran, and chief innovation officer at Cannabis World Congress and Business Education, or CWCB Education. Welcome to the show, Leo, man. I'm stoked to have you here today.
Oh, man, thanks for having me, man, for real.
Yeah, no worries. Now, I understand you're joining us from the opposite side of the country over in New Jersey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. We were talking before we started rolling here that with the election now literally a week from when we're recording this, the election cycle is going to finally end, thank the Lord. But I understand that in New Jersey, man, it's a special kind of energy because you got cannabis legislation on the ticket.
Yeah, we're here in New Jersey. We are voting for adult use cannabis, to have the state tax and regulate cannabis like it does alcohol. Much in the same way. And currently, because we were just discussing this before we went on air, currently the ballot initiative is polling at, somewhere between 61 and 64% of New Jerseyans are for adult use. And the interesting thing is that those poll numbers came out right before the governor of New Jersey explained to the citizens of New Jersey that we're light on the budget, about $4 billion.
Oh,
and damn. So, and so, like our state government is furloughing its workers. But I think that, what's interesting is that, one, when he told us that, he should have said we're $4 billion and counting. And two, if you're hearing what I'm saying, take out the word New Jersey and just put in your state, because everybody's about to do this collateral damage assessment from COVID, from the pandemic.
There is a vast majority in New Jersey in favor of legalizing cannabis. I understand that we were mentioning this before we started recording here, that for you personally, it's not really, you're not too worried about it being passed, more so than you're worried about it being passed and implemented properly. Is that right in my understanding?
Absolutely. Like when you talk about minority inclusion and equity stake, right? And equity programs and everything. This is the one nightmare scenario that literally transcends all those things. And that scenario being this pandemic that we're currently in, and how it's, and the damage from it. And so now states really, really, really need the money. Okay. And in particular, when you look at New Jersey, because this is something that most people do not realize. Should New Jersey fall for adult use, or put it like this, when New Jersey falls for adult use, we leapfrog everybody and go straight to number 2 behind California in terms of revenue.
Right.
And the reason for that is because we have a population of 9 million people. We get 100 million over 100 million visitors a year. And we are sandwiched between the number 4 media market, Philadelphia, and the number 1 cannabis consuming city in the world, New York. So
Right.
What do you think is going to happen when we go for adult use? Within a 250 square mile radius of Trenton, New Jersey, you're talking about 27 million people.
Damn.
And
Wow.
mind you, New York and Pennsylvania only have medicinal. New York doesn't even allow for the sale of medical cannabis flower.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
man.
could only get it in oil form.
Right.
And so remember when I told you, a little while ago, like what, half of California is on fire right now? So
Yes,
it's
indeed.
about to be a whole lot of smoky weed hitting the legacy market.
Uh-huh.
We go for adult use. Where do you think all them people gonna go for their weed?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And what most
Yeah,
people
man.
don't realize here is that it's a very normal, common thing. New Yorkers actually do a lot of their shopping in New Jersey because we have a lower sales tax rate. You see what I'm saying? New Yorkers already come to New Jersey to buy their cigarettes because it's cheaper. And New Jerseyans go to Pennsylvania for their cigarettes because it's cheaper.
Oh, wow.
But people in Pennsylvania come to New Jersey for their gas.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? That's just, it's normal. It's just a regular way of life around here. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so New Jersey, what they're proposing is you're going to love this. Guess what our tax rate is going to be?
Oh, geez. Do I want to know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. You want?
Oh, I do want to know.
Come on over.
Tell me what it is.
6.25.
Okay.
And they're going to allow for municipalities to impose up to no more than a 2% excise tax.
Huh. Okay.
Now that rate, that's the best rate in the entire country right now.
That's what I was going to ask. Where would that fall?
Right.
So that would be officially the best rate anywhere in the country.
Absolutely. You see what I'm saying? So once again, you know what I'm saying? Like these are all things that I'm not against or anything like that. I'm just saying, like I'm always telling people, like I tell people that live in New York City, I'm like, for those of you that live in the United States of New York City, you might want to rethink your relationship with your next door neighbor, Jersey. Right. Because you start throwing out those numbers and everything like that, and people are like, wait, how much? How much money we talking about? Wait, like that, even your Archie Bunker, not NIMBY people, not in my backyard. They're all looking like, wait a minute, hold up, time out, wait a minute. How much money?
Right.
Wait a minute, might want to rethink that NIMBY thing, which is not in my backyard. We might want to rethink that because we need money now. You got like 20, 30 million people apply for unemployment benefits.
Yeah, man.
What is the percentage of those people that are gonna have jobs to go back to? Mm-hmm. And what is the percentage of those people that are going to go from kind of curious to kind of serious now because they have to? Mm-hmm. And so what this pandemic did was this pandemic closed the door on the first generation cannabis entrepreneur, plant touching entrepreneur. Okay.
Close the door as in like shut. They're effectively shut out is what you're.
No. Just like there's no like that first generation done.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay, and let me tell you how I came to this conclusion. Okay. I was talking to the commissioner here, the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Program, right? Mm-hmm. Man named Jeff Brown. He and I are talking on the phone, and he says to me, he says, Leo, I really want to finish our conversation. Have like maybe a social distancing meeting about, getting commerce and everything. And I said, and this is what I said. I said, oh, Jeff, don't worry about it, man. Me and LaShawna just finished the outdoor space. So you can actually come to the house and we can sit on the side. We can sit outside. I got an outdoor living space, right?
Yeah.
And he says, and this is what caught my ear. You ready? He said, okay, bet. Let me get my next assignment. and I'll call you with some dates to see what works. And
Okay.
I remember I looked, I said, next assignment?
Right.
What do you mean next assignment? You're not the deputy commissioner anymore? And he said, yeah, no. Yeah, I'm still doing that, but right now I'm running the Atlantic City Field Hospital. And understand this conversation was taking place in April. Okay, so think about what was jumping off in April. Okay,
man, that seems like ages ago, but yeah, I can bring myself back.
Right. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So when he said that, right, I was like, wait, what? And I said, you're running Atlantic City Field Hospital? And he said, yeah. I was like, what the hell are you doing running a damn field hospital? And he said, oh man, the governor allocated all assets and resources to fighting COVID. And I said, I was like, oh. And it was in that moment that I realized how the magnitude of this of the pandemic at that time. You know, I totally understood what the governor was doing. Yes, good job. Yes, do that. Yes, send everybody ass on out to do something. But I just didn't know. It was like actually for real going down like that, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, totally.
So I'm like, oh, you know, I'm on some more like, damn, you know, like, oh, snap, you know, like, okay. And then it dawned on me. I said, wait a minute, Jeff. He said, yeah, what's up? I said, if I went around a corner, because like I said, I live in Trenton. I actually live in downtown Trenton. Okay. And I said, so if I went around a corner, if I filled out an application and went around a corner to drop it off, who's at the Department of Health to take it? And he said, security.
Damn.
And I said, what? He said, yeah, ain't nobody in that building right now.
Oh, damn.
And I said, what? You know, and I said, what? You know, he said, yeah, if you work at the Department of Health, you are either working at a field hospital, a testing site, or a lab.
Damn.
So right then and there, I realized, oh shit, even if I had $100 million, it's not like I can go and physically go get an application. There's nobody at work.
Damn.
Even if I turned in a completed application, there is nobody there to review my application. There's no inspectors to inspect anything. There's no investigators to investigate anything. Everybody's home. Everybody is, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you physically cannot, it's impossible to do. Only because all of these services and everything was shut down.
Damn, and they were all at home, but they weren't continuing their work at home, so it was kind of just like a limbo state.
No, they weren't all at home. If you work for the Department of Health, you was in one of three locations.
Oh, right.
So it didn't matter. That's why I said the door was closed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what COVID did.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm like you. Now you sound like me. I was like, oh, God damn. You know, like, wow. I didn't realize it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn.
Like that,
you know? Yeah. And mind you, in the context of this conversation, we was talking about, he was expressing to me about how his worries because his wife was pregnant. You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, like, you remember back in April when people would go into the hospital, they had to go by themselves and they die alone. Remember that? Yeah. And the nurse. Okay, so that's what was that at the time of this conversation. That is what was heavy in the news. So being that he was about to be a new father soon, that was a legit concern. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Totally legit. And I was and again, in the context of this conversation, this was just two friends like, oh man, don't worry about it, dog. You're gonna be okay. I don't think it's gonna be that. You see what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah, totally.
And then
I feel like a lot of us had that mentality coming into the year.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially in April. I wasn't,
Oh, yeah.
I was
Straight up.
like, damn, this will be over hopefully by the end of the summer or something.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
goddamn, it's about to be November and we still dealing with it.
I
So,
know.
so for me, at that time, I'm just like, I realized, I was like, oh, snap. Now what's going to happen is, and understand something, that first generation plant touching cannabis entrepreneur is
Mhm.
now responsible for building out the infrastructure for the first generation cannabis workforce.
Right.
We are the only industry that is still in dire need of human hands.
Mhm.
So that first
Mhm.
generation workforce is actually going to be multi-generational, fresh out. Look, I'm 45 years old, right?
Mhm.
It's going to be people my age whose bosses are going to be like 23 and 25. That type
Right.
of shit going to be going on.
Right.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like that is literally what we're going to be dealing with. And so now, you see what I'm
Man.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, and yeah, now the shit hitting you, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, as if taking myself back to April wasn't traumatic enough, man. Now
Now the
you're hitting
magnitude,
me with all this.
and understand.
Yeah.
Listen, I figured all this out back then, so you can imagine what it must be like to be me right now. Because I just told my son the other day, I was like, yo, it's difficult being somebody who has the lights constantly on in their head.
Mm-hmm.
Because you
Mm-hmm.
go to bed with this on your mind, you wake up
Mm-hmm.
with this on your mind. This
Mm-hmm.
like you can't get because when you understand everything that goes into what I'm saying,
Right.
where we are at this time in time.
Mm.
Come on, money.
Right.
Come
Right,
on.
man. So,
Come on.
man, what keeps you going then, man? So like, you mentioned that it can be difficult from time to time to be a person who constantly has the lights on, who's constantly thinking about what can be improved and the direction that things are going in, if we're talking
Mhm.
in the cannabis space in particular. So, when shit hits the fan, or when going gets tough, man, like what keeps you going?
Well, number one, of course, my wife and my kids,
Mm-hmm.
they are they're my motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But what keeps me going is understanding the amount of work that has to be done. And let me explain something. Let me explain why. Me,
Sure.
you, and everybody within range of my voice at this moment, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We are the only ones who will ever in the history of this world, we are the only ones who will ever experience the end of prohibition on cannabis. That's going to
That's
happen
deep.
in our lifetime. Matter of fact, real damn soon, too.
Yeah.
Okay? In terms of
Yeah.
when you're thinking in terms of years. And so, what is required of us is to think 5 and 10 generations down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Things need to make sense now. And if it doesn't make sense, then we today need to put in place mechanisms that they can use then to make it make sense.
Mm.
Now, that's a difficult thing to get people to do when you live in an instant gratification type of society, such as the one we live in right now.
Mm. Mm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
know that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I ain't lying.
Right.
And so,
Right.
and the thing is that, this work, none of us, I will not be here to see the penthouse of my work. I already know that.
Mm.
Because right now, we're picking the new old names. There was a time when Anheuser and Busch were new names.
Right.
And
Right.
when they first got started, do you think that they imagined freaking Clydesdales kicking a football with their bottles and shit on Super Bowl?
Right. Right,
Did you
right,
think,
right.
you even think they imagine that in their heads? Right? You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And I said,
For
because I
sure,
say
for
to myself
sure.
all the time, like, man, during Prohibition, if they knew what they was getting themselves into, well, that's where we at right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you hear people, and I tell people this all the time. We're talking about, we talk about cannabis, and we say all this stuff, and don't get me wrong, cannabis is going to be good money. It is. It's going to be good money. It's going to be good
Sure.
money.
Sure.
But the long money is in hemp, and I don't hear nobody saying shit about that. Why?
Mm. Yeah,
That's the $1
why?
trillion industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That literally is a $1 trillion industry. No joke.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
why we ain't talking about that?
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Well, number one, it's because of there's a perversion that has taken place, an
Okay.
abomination,
Okay.
and that perversion and abomination is making the distinction between cannabis and hemp. It's the same damn thing.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you look at, and I say that because nowadays when you say hemp,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, you're talking about something that's 0.003. Okay, anything hemp, anything cannabis that's 0.003, that's a perversion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is an abomination. Okay, because the plant was breeded that way, but it was never meant to grow that way. That's not how it originally grows.
And by 0.003, you mean 0.003%
THC, yes.
THC. Right, right.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And so, and I'm, and what I'm saying is that if this was a television show, if this entire effort and endeavor
Mm-hmm.
was a television show, you and I are in season 8, episode 7. Our lawmakers are in season 1, episode 3.
Sure.
Spoiler alert, it's not a gateway drug. That's the season finale in season 1.
I like that. Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
at and you can say this about any state, at every level of government, in particular when it comes to the state level for us, you have
Mm-hmm.
2 types of people. You have Jetsons and then you have Flintstones.
Ooh,
Now,
sweet.
those designators transcend gender, religion, race, and more importantly, those designators transcend age because there's some young ass Flintstones out there. And as I've traveled before COVID, when I was traveling all over the country, I started realizing that, interestingly enough, there are a lot of Jetsons pretending to be Flintstones because it is much more profitable for them to be a Flintstone than it is to be a Jetson.
Interesting.
That's how that, and the thing about it is just like Flintstones, Jetsons have a way of telling on themselves. And it's the same thing. It's all in the words that they use. So if you have a politician who's still saying gateway drug, you already know. You see what I'm saying? Because people like me and you, when we hear gateway drug, the first thing we think is, what year are you? We ain't talked that
Yeah,
way
honestly.
in years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it sounds like an archaic phrase. Yeah, it sounds outdated.
It sounds like someone who still call black people colored. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
really?
Totally. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like we don't talk like that anymore, Grandpa.
Negro.
Like,
yeah. Negro. Really? I mean, okay. I mean, damn. You still using beepers? Come on, man.
That's a blast from the past, my friend. Like,
exactly. You know what I'm saying?
We don't use that. Yeah.
Or when they say, "What you doing? You smoking dope?" And you just like dope. Oh man. Oh damn. You still call it dope? That's dope. That's funny as hell.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
And mind you, you know what I'm saying? These are take a look, and this is the part that I find to be the most embarrassing, in particular coming from New Jersey, is
Okay.
that, we have lawmakers who we're asking a bunch of Flintstones to write the rules to a Jetsons game. Okay.
With a rock
And
and chisel.
yes, and the thing about it is that when you look at the industry as a whole, historically, all of the ills of this industry, all roads lead back to education or lack thereof.
Right.
Education, 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 education.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And every single form there is, that's what leads us to a lot of the problems that we have. So therefore, you get somebody, you know what I'm saying, who is thinking on a macro and micro level, you know what I'm saying, and you're putting and you're sending that person to go stand tall against people who still say gateway drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's and so what do you think is going to happen? That person, i.e. me, is going to make a lot of people feel uncomfortable. A lot of Flintstones ain't going to like them. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because that Jetson be saying some scary stuff.
Right.
Like do your damn job, shit like that.
Oh, damn. No, that's scary, man.
No,
It's Halloween.
yeah.
It's close to Halloween. Don't scare me
to,
with that.
You ain't supposed to know anything about that. Black people don't vote.
For real. Yeah, man. For real.
Who told you to say that?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Honestly.
Be quiet.
Honestly.
That's what happens. That's what happens. And I mean, listen. I mean, like even when you listen, look at Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? Just think about that for a second. Whenever you talk about cannabis legalization and everything like that, first thing that fly out of his mouth is rehab.
You're right. Yeah.
So that means he still think us. Addicts.
Right. Which is sort of in the same vein as like a the same vein of like gateway drug thinking.
Absolutely.
It's kind of in the same sort of lane.
Absolutely. Again, we ain't talked that way in years.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah, man. That was generations ago.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then listen, look. I'll do you a solid, right? Take a look at New Jersey's ballot question. That'll really put it down. That's where the embarrassment for me comes in.
Okay.
Look at the way New Jersey worded its ballot question.
Do you know, like, can you like, do you have a bit off of it off the top of your head?
Should New Jersey tax and regulate, amend the Constitution to tax and regulate, you ready for this? A form of marijuana called cannabis.
A form of marijuana called cannabis? What?
I'm just picture my face sitting here with my head in my hands, embarrassed. Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah. That's pretty much the face I'm making too. Yeah. What? Okay.
Like what?
Who wrote that question? Who wrote that?
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. You know what pisses me off the most? It's not even so much who wrote the question. What pisses me off the most is that question went public.
Like that's the final version of the question.
Yes, that's the point. Nobody caught that. Nobody.
No one was proofreading.
Nobody caught that.
Dang, they couldn't even get a security guard to look at it or something.
But that tells you, to me, these are all what I call indicators. It lets you know just how much they really think it is. They think so little of it, they ain't even think twice about how they worded their damn question.
Yeah, that's true.
No one took the time to actually properly give it the just due thought that it should. Look at the...
Or consult someone. Right.
Yeah, that's to me, those are your telltale indicators and your telltale sign, you know what I'm saying, that these people, and mind you, the same people who wrote that question are the same people who are going to be writing the rules.
Great.
You really think that they're going, like, come on, man. You know, I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. God damn it, shit! Like, come on.
Honestly,
Like,
honestly, and you know, it's almost it's not almost it's straight up insulting for you know, the New Jersey legislation to write the question like that and to sort of just assume, I guess, that voters would be too stupid to catch that.
let me tell you something. This is the part that, like, this is how all the zingers and stuff that I had that come out of this.
Uh-huh.
How you gonna be the state with that's number one in public education, and y'all writing up questions like that? What kind of shit is that? You know
Right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right.
You know, and the embarrassing thing is that, you know, like, you know, I got colleagues that's like, well, goddamn, Leo, you ain't teaching them. Like, hey, this ain't me. I'm trying.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So yeah, I want to ask you about that because you mentioned that, you know, you just said, you know, education, education, education is so it's hella
Absolutely.
important. It's you know, the cornerstone of advocacy. So
Mm-hmm.
if I have this correct, CWCB Education,
Mm-hmm.
which is sort of a branch off of the
The Expo.
CWCB Expo. Um,
Absolutely.
if I have this correct, you started it in July of this year. Is that right?
Absolutely.
So tell me about what it does and why you felt that this time in particular was the right time to begin that journey.
So I actually sit on the board, the advisory board for the CWCB Expo, right? So
Uh huh.
I get to, you know, have input on, you know, show ideas and stuff like that, speakers, the whole 9 yards.
Nice.
And, you know, one of the things, and you know, education is something that myself and Christina Iannuzzi and Greg Marco and even our
Mm.
brother Ralph Iannuzzi, you know, the whole Iannuzzi family and stuff. We were talking about trends that we see in the industry, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I remember I was telling Chris, I was like, Chris, you know, like being on this advisory board and everything like that, and having to be at these shows, it's got my vision on a macro and micro level, you know, way of thinking now. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, yeah. And she said, well, what'd you come up with? And I said, you know, everything goes back to education because I see we're up here telling people stuff that they ain't never heard before. I mean,
Right.
constantly. I mean, goddamn, this is supposed to be a
Right.
trade show. You know what I'm saying?
And nobody else
And
got anything to trade.
right, but you know, like just in terms of education, you know what I'm saying?
Sure. Sure.
And you know, and then on top of that, you know, like listening to her, you know, speak, listening to Christina Iannuzzi speak, and her dropping all these major jewels in terms of how she sees the industry and everything,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So we started talking about education, and she's like, you know what? You know, we found us a partner, someone that we could partner with and making this happen in terms of having the necessary tools and background. And so we started, you know, I started having more meaningful conversations with schools of higher learning.
Mm-hmm.
And we, you know, we decided we need to make this more formal. You see what I'm saying? Because there were things about the way this industry was moving that a more formal, you know, banner, you know, but it didn't need to be the expo. That was the thing. You know,
Right.
the expo was just that, an expo, a trade show. You see what I'm
Sure.
saying? Education was something else. And
Sure.
so, you know, since its inception, you know, we're working with a couple of schools of higher learning, you know, and helping them develop their cannabis and hemp programs, you know,
Mm.
curriculums, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so in doing so, you know, because what we're also noticing, at least what I'm noticing, is that there is starting to become, you know, this formalization now by states for formal education requirements.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at these equity programs, you know, such as like the ones in LA, and you look at what happened in Illinois, you know, a lot of the problems is because you got a lot of people who are running game on people new to the industry,
Yeah.
predatory lending and all that other stuff. And
Sure.
so, you know, and then like what we're seeing here in New Jersey. And this is what's really interesting, right? So I've been fighting this fight, you know what I'm saying, since 2015, right?
Mm-hmm.
And going in hard. Now, all of a sudden, okay, out of the blue, as we getting closer to legalization, now you got these trade organizations staking their claim.
Mm.
So you got the New Jersey Cannabis Business Association, you got the New Jersey Cannabis Industry Association, you got the New Jersey Cannabis Trade Organization. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And you've worked with all of them almost, pretty much.
Yeah, and what they're doing is they're making it so that they insert themselves in the process of getting into this industry. You're not going to be viable unless you're a part of our trade organization.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And when you look at who heads these organizations, these are people who have zero background in cannabis.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One organization was actually created and put together by Chris Christie's people.
Yeah.
And everybody in the industry knew that Chris Christie hated cannabis.
I was about to say Chris Christie, man.
Right. Yeah, but this ain't him. This is just people who work for him.
Right.
So what's that telling you? Even they knew what was going down.
Damn.
They seen it. Everybody's seen it coming. Everybody's seen it coming.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, you know, I see this situation and I'm like, okay, see, I see what's going on here. This is exactly the BS that went down out on the West Coast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at the West Coast, you got all these different organizations, and what they're trying to do now is they're trying to restock their ranks.
Sure.
They need more soldiers.
Sure.
They need more bodies, more members. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you got these trade organizations here, and they're saying, you know, they weren't here 6 months ago. They weren't here a year ago. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But they're here now, and they're screaming at the top of their lungs, "We're it." Really? Really?
Where you been this whole time?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right.
About to fix that shit real quick. I'm about to blow all of it up. You know what I'm saying? Because the one thing that people who are new to the space, all right, you know what? Not even new, people who are new. The one thing that people who are not of the culture, okay, what they don't understand about this business is that this industry is very incestuous.
Yes.
Everybody knows everybody.
Yes.
So the tribe may be small, but we everywhere.
Ooh, I love that.
If you think about it.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's something that you know, you mentioned we're living in the age of instant gratification, and that can be a downfall of course in many ways, but it's helpful in the sense that it helps us sort of keep this community flourishing across state lines and communicate with each other and exchange ideas and advocacy and spread the word out through these online sources and avenues. So yeah, it's great. I love that you mentioned that. Yeah, the tribe is small, but yeah, we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
You know, and you know, in a much later conversation, you know, talking with our deputy commissioner here, I said to him, I said, Jeff, I said, look. You know, if you really want Jersey to be, you know, all that it could be in terms of the cannabis industry and stuff like that, then, and you don't want you really don't, you know how you avoid the bullshit? And he dipped in, he was like, all right, tell me, how do I avoid the bullshit? I said, absorb all of the activists.
Ooh.
Look, he was like, what? I said, absorb them right now. Make them a part of the whole, put some of your top activists in the state. You put them in charge of something, you give them, look, having them on the team is the reason why a lot of your messed up companies ain't gonna come here. What? You got RJ? Oh, hell no. We ain't going there.
Right.
We ain't going to
Right.
do business there. Because they know RJ going to tear their asses up. He know,
Right. Right. Right.
I remember y'all. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
They
For
know,
real.
you know, or better yet, you know what I'm saying? A company calls and says, yeah, we coming to Trenton, New Jersey. And RJ like, oh yeah? Hold on, let me make a phone call. Now I'm calling out West Coast. I want give me the skinny. A Cheney Turner. A Dashida Dawson. Who tell me about so and so so? You don't want them, RJ. Hell no. Let me tell you what they did to people. See, that's bullshit. Okay, and then you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
It's
Yeah.
it really goes down like that. They know all the little tricks of the trade. They know
Yeah.
all the bullshit ass predatory lending language and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
They know everything to look out for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is how you can get, you know, like listen, and mind you, I'm telling this to Jeff, he was cracking up. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't completely disagree either. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? He was just
Sure.
laughing. He was like, you know, I said, you know, I said, but think about it for a second. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people out here. They the reason. It's because they hear is why. Look, it's because Leo Bridgewater lives in New Jersey is why some companies probably ain't gonna come here.
Right. Right. They're like, oh man,
You
we
see what I'm
can't.
saying?
Yeah. Like,
Hell no. He gonna
oh
see
no.
me. No. Or they're gonna do some shit like change their name or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Let
Right.
me
Right.
find out.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. They who? They what? Canopy? Oh, hell no. You know what I'm
Let me make a
saying?
call right quick. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm about to fuck this all up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so,
man.
like, for me, you know, like, and so this is, and when I'm talking to these politicians and I'm having these conversations with these administrators and stuff like that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like what I give them is that real time boots on the ground intel.
Sure.
That's
Sure.
that's literally what you are getting from me.
Mm-hmm.
Real time boots on the ground intel. Now, what you gonna
Mm-hmm.
do with that? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
What are you gonna do?
Right. I mean, have you, so out of the organizations and companies that you've worked with, how many of them do you feel are doing the right thing with what you can supply them? Are there any,
Oh,
or or is it mostly, is there still more work to be done in terms of, moving these people in the right direction?
well, you got to think about what are the metrics you're using to get to success.
Sure.
You
Sure.
see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because like I think organizations like the ACLU, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
They have done a lot, especially here in New Jersey. They have
Mm-hmm.
done a lot to bring cannabis legalization, expungement, and a whole nine yards to the table, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the ACLU shouldn't be a part of major talks when it comes to industry. That's
Sure.
not their forte. That's not their forte.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
the NAACP shouldn't be the ones at the table talking. The NAACP should be hiring someone like Leo Bridgewater to be the one at the table to talk for them. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
That would make sense.
A lot of these major organizations are headed by people who have zero cannabis background.
That's so weird, man. I I don't understand the reasoning behind
Because
choosing to do that.
because Jetson, I mean Flintstones only talk to Flintstones.
Mm,
And when you
mm,
think about it, you know what I'm saying? Like this is what this whole cannabis endeavor has done. It's illuminated from the inside out all the ills that is the industry. And so just stop
right.
for a minute and take a look. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like here in Jersey, you know what I'm saying? You want to know what's a thing in Jersey? It's been a thing historically. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Black people here don't vote. Yeah. You know
Oh,
what I'm
damn.
saying? Now,
Yeah.
I know they're going to come out to vote for this election because it's a president and it's Donald Trump and all the other stuff. But
Right.
historically,
Yeah, I hope
yeah, but
so.
historically, black people here don't vote. Now, the
Mm.
ones that do, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the large majority of blacks, African Americans who actually do vote, they belong to the
Mhm.
number one hardest group of people to talk to about this, which is black church
Mhm.
people. Because most
Mm.
people don't realize that black church people are way more conservative than what you would see on Fox News.
Mm.
You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so when you
Yeah.
think about how the illegality of the plant has played out on our community, you know what I'm saying? We're largely
Right.
suffering from PTSD over the illegality of the plant.
Right.
Think about what that's done. That's broken up homes. It's killed people. It's got people thrown in jail, whole families. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then
Right.
you figure who is traditionally viewed as the gatekeepers to the African American community? The
Mhm.
church.
Mhm.
So
Sure.
there's, and mind you, we're talking about what, 49 years worth of propaganda that we have to try to roll back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No wonder they
Yeah.
still say pot. No wonder they still say dope. No wonder they still say gateway drug. And I have to tell some
Sure.
people, like, I'm all for home grow, but I really do not think that that's going to happen with this legislature fresh out. That's too advanced for them. Shit, last week it
Right.
was just saying gateway drug. Now you want them to go from saying gateway drug to home grow? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah, man. One
people
step at a
scream
time,
about
that's for
it. Yeah,
damn
and
sure.
people scream about it. And I'm like, when you say and scream about home grow, you know what I'm saying? And you be right, but do you realize that blank look on their face means that it's going completely over their heads?
Mm. Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
do
man.
you really think Joe Biden is going to go for home grow? Fresh off, fresh
Ah,
out,
fresh
fresh
off? Oh man, I don't know about fresh off. Yeah, yeah. I don't know
exactly.
about that.
That's
Oh
why I
no.
say fight the fights that you can win. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't gotta
Yeah.
fight every battle, not off the bat. Yo, this it's like home grow has to be an eventuality for now. That's
Mhm.
how they got it.
Mhm.
You know, but you got a lot of people like no home grow, no vote. Okay, listen, you ain't never gonna get it then.
Right. Like yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm
You
saying?
definitely got
You
to
ain't never
start.
gonna get it. Yeah,
Yeah. You
it's
got to
gonna have
start
to. Yeah,
somewhere.
but that's the thing. This entire endeavor literally has been the greatest, the single greatest civics lesson of my life.
Mm.
Okay.
Damn.
That's what this has been. This has been one
Yeah.
big ass civics lesson, you know, and
Yeah.
learning how politics is supposed to work and all this other stuff. But see, my camera lens is also different, also because I had the lens of a veteran.
Right. Right.
And so
That's right.
my experience is completely different than say yours. When I'm inside
Mhm.
that state house, they talk to me different than they talk to you.
Mhm. Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
And
That's right.
and as I travel across the country and everything, I'm seeing people tend to lean more towards the word of a veteran before a politician. Now, why
Mm.
do you think that is? Because they
Mm.
know we're gonna tell it. We tell everything. You
Mhm.
know, most people don't realize, you know, like the entire time I was in the army, and listen, all right, RJ, they beat this into you, okay?
Mhm.
But they tell you almost every other day, you know, how much the American people paid for something.
Mhm.
Hey, Bridgewater, better not mess up that damn computer chip. The American people paid $300,000 for that chip. You mess it up,
Yeah.
you get fucked up. And you be sitting there
Ah.
like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
We know how
Yeah.
much everything costs. Okay? We do. If you ever been through a change of command, they'll tell you inventory everything. God damn it. You gotta write down the how much a screw, a little ass screw costs when
Whoa.
doing a change of command. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Everything. Okay?
Wow.
And so when I get out and I look at, you know, like when people say, you know, like, you know, I think about myself and I'm like, okay, I was a telecommunications specialist. I went to this school, I deployed, blah, 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 blah. Okay,
That's right.
the American people spent about 2.5, maybe 3 million on me.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
so this time that we've been on this time that we've been on the phone,
Uh-huh.
I have given you, tax-paying United States citizen, I have
Mm-hmm.
just given you in this amount of time a much better return on investment than a suicide. And you get 22 of those a day.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Okay?
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
20, it's 5 a week here in New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? And that's real. That is actually
Mm-hmm.
happening. You all have the greatest military in the history of the planet. That is
Mm-hmm.
a fact. That is not up for
Right.
argument. That is not up for debate. That is a fact. Now, here's the thing. That means that every member of the United States military and veterans at some point lived and worked in an environment that fostered success. Okay?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Now here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We only know how to achieve success one way:
Mm-hmm.
together. We've always done it together. That's why when you sit there and you hear the stories of the Medal of Honor recipients and stuff like that, and they put the camera on and they be telling them, I really wasn't trying to win this shit. I was trying to save my brothers. I was trying to
Right.
save my battle buddies.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they cared about. A lot of them who got hurt and everything like that, they're pissed the hell off because they can't go back.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't watch their battle buddies six. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
You got a lot of people who do, you celebrate an alive day. That was a day
Mm-hmm.
where you almost got killed.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Damn,
It's
man.
all these things. You see what I'm saying? And so, of course, and mind you, again, as I said, they tell us these things. Everybody's got a senior NCO or a captain or somebody, you know what I'm saying, who, if they was to see how things are being run, they wear everybody asses out. First sergeant see this, he'd be like, why my barracks look like this, Bridgewater? Better clean this up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They talk
Right.
like that. You see what I'm saying? And
Right.
so
Right.
you bring that attitude into the civilian world, much less into the cannabis advocacy. You know what I'm saying? It was the thing that kind of made it, like I can speak to a number of different, subjects and everything like that. And mind you, I am not regulated because I'm a veteran. I am not regulated to just New Jersey when I talk my shit.
That's
Think about
right.
that for a
That's
second.
right. Yeah.
I'm one of those one demographic. I'm part of that one demographic that is not bound by state lines.
Mm.
I am not bound by state lines. Everything that I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm dead ass serious. RJ, you paid for this. Don't you think that if you spent, wouldn't you want your $4 million to sound like this?
I wouldn't hate it. That's for sure.
Listen, your money.
Yeah.
Seriously. I'm not even talking theoretical here. I'm not even talking hypothetical. Like, for real. I don't care how much you don't like the president. I don't care how much you don't like the government or anything like that. Bitch, I got you. Your money was spent on me. Don't you want it to sound like this?
Right.
Don't you want, you know what I'm saying? If I invested my money in you, I expect, you understand what I'm saying? So every time, like for those people who only can think in terms of numbers, you got 22 veteran suicides a day. Okay, let's do the math here. If that's what it takes. And mind you, we have more Vietnam veterans who have come home and killed themselves than actually died in the war. We're talking over 58,000. And bruh, we passed that number a long time ago.
Oh my God. That's such
you didn't even know that,
so
did
sad. Yeah, no, I didn't. That's such a sad.
That's so sad. And that's why we be sitting here and we be looking and everything. And we say when people be like, oh, thank you for your service. It's like, yeah, really? Really?
Right. Right.
Really? I
Yeah.
appreciate the sentiment, but when you have these types of when you have these type of situations going on, it
Hmm.
kind of makes the whole "thank you for your service" turn into more of a punchline than anything.
Right. Yeah. Lip
You understand what I'm
service,
saying?
if anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Just
yeah, you know what? Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. You're welcome. We're
right.
regulated to just getting, nice discounts or free meals on one day of the year in November or some shit like that. You see what I'm saying? That's what
Yeah.
y'all think about us. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh great, yeah. They show Pearl Harbor and everything like that. And
Yeah. Oh
you
god.
know, you're like, what the hell?
Well, yeah,
Really?
it's funny that you brought up that they show Pearl Harbor because like, and this is kind of like separate from cannabis in particular. It's just a veterans issue in general. It's like a lot of the times they make it still seem like the idea of being a veteran is almost like an old like a not old but like an older thing in American history where like we don't really like focus a lot on like the current state of veterans affairs.
Listen, let me tell you how messed up we are as this country, how really trashed we are, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We are to the point now where, you know what I'm saying, we've been at war for so long that we have kids who are now patrolling the same routes as their fathers in Iraq and Afghanistan. Think about that for a second. You understand what I'm saying? Like people are people. We're so accustomed to this. We you know what as a country, you know what some of our favorite sights and sounds are. Some of our favorite collective sights and sounds are soldiers coming home from war and surprising their families.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I see those
Mm-hmm.
videos all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They do it
Right.
before a football game. You see what I'm saying? And to be
Yeah.
quite honest with you, let me be even more frank. It ain't like when you look at PTS and you look at CTE, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think us and NFL players got a whole hell of a lot more to talk about than a damn flyover and shaking a flag that come to find
Right.
out the American people was paying for.
Right. Exactly.
You see what
Exactly.
I'm saying?
Yep.
Come on, like this is you have an entire generation of kids who have never known the world with the US not at war.
Yeah.
In
That.
our entire existence, we have not been at war. I think for like in our 200 and some odd year existence, I think we got 15 years of peace.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just read that depressing factoid recently too. Um.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
It's ridiculous. It's
Okay. And then you're gonna turn around and you pulling this? Like, come on, like listen.
for real. For
Yeah,
real.
it's the time for oxymoronic politics. That's the thing that has to be over with. You understand?
That.
Do you realize that if Joe Biden becomes president of the United States, he will be the oldest president in history, the
Yeah.
oldest elected president in history, and the
Mhm.
first sitting president from the silent generation.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What, 78, right? He's 78 years old.
Yeah.
Damn. Damn.
And so how do you think I feel? When I look at the choices, all I got is two old ass white men telling me what to do.
I know, right? Yeah, this is the best we could come up with in 2020, y'all.
Yeah, you know what
This
I'm saying?
is
This is the best. If 2020, this couldn't get more 2020 in a minute, man. You know what I'm saying?
man,
Seriously.
don't say that. We still got 2
I
more
know.
months left in
Yeah, we still got
2020.
2 more months. Yeah, let me shut the hell up. Let me stop. Yeah, I just yeah. Who knows?
2020 is going to be like, "Hey, watch this."
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? Look, I can't wait to see next week. You know what? We
Oh
may not even
man.
know who the president is come November 3rd. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, dude.
Remember how long it took Florida to count their shit? And that was with George Bush.
Yeah. Oh jeez. Oh
Shit.
man. Don't take me back to
Right?
George Bush, man. Oh no.
Remember that?
Oh, geez,
That?
man.
You know what I'm saying?
I,
With the guy with glasses doing the tick marks and shit, counting the votes.
oh, man, not much. It seems like not much has changed, to be honest.
Well,
Um,
here's the thing. I did a rally at the State House,
uh-huh.
and I told the people at the rally, I said, listen, I was probably like the sixth or seventh person to get up and speak, right? And I said, I said, listen, I've been watching and I've been listening and I've listened to everybody speak, and I thought everything that they said was a lot of things that people said was right on point. But I want to tell you something. At some point in everybody's speech, at one point, they all turned and started screaming and yelling and pointing at this building, at the State House,
Okay.
as if the people in there are going to pay attention to what you're saying out here.
Right.
Now, I ain't going to do that. But what I want to ask you is that how many times does somebody got to give you their ass to kiss before you realize they don't care about you?
Mm.
They don't care about anything you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, at some point, someone's have to tell you, this is your fault, right? You hired these people.
Right, right.
This is what not voting, this is why not voting is more dangerous than voting for the wrong person.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep,
and so
absolutely.
you're leaving the decision making to a very small number of the population. And now, and this is why the Donald Trump presidency is the gift that keeps giving, because he woke a lot of people up.
Right.
A lot of people are starting to realize that they've been asleep at the wheel for too long. A lot of people have checked out of their most basic of civic responsibilities, which is voting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like right now, the next 4 years is going to be real interesting, because the first thing we got to do as a people is get his stupid ass up out of that damn office.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then the next 4 years, Democrats and Republicans are going to have to do a whole rack of work to replenish their ranks. Because I can tell you, a lot of people of color, particularly Black people, are going to leave the Democratic Party, and they damn sure ain't leaving for the Republican Party.
Right.
That's what happened.
Right.
Y'all thought like you remember the whole Tea Party movement? Okay, you about to see an iced tea movement.
A sweet tea movement.
A sweet
like
tea,
that.
yeah. About to have a sweet tea. Y'all,
the sweet tea party. I could get down with that.
About to have a sweet tea party.
I could get down. Yeah.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Because we ain't about that bullshit. Yeah, everybody's sick of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the reason why. That's the biggest reason why a lot of people voted for Donald Trump, because they wanted him to say to the establishment what they always wanted to say.
Right. Right. Well, then what's next for you, man? The election cycle is rounding its end. The lights are constantly on up in that brain of yours. You've always got stuff that you've got on your mind. What's next? What can we expect for the rest of season 8 and the premiere of season 9?
Oh wow. So the rest of season 8 is I'm going to be for the rest of the year, after November 17th to the 18th. From that point on, I'll be on iodine status for a while.
Okay.
Iodine status means I'm just going to be all up in the cut.
Okay.
On my Geppetto, because it's dotting I's and crossing T's and executing a number of projects that I spent this COVID time putting together.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that's where you're not going to see so much of me, like you're not going to see me on too many more interviews or talk shows or anything like that, because, there's a lot of work to be done. Like things are about to go quiet for a little while, I think, given the spike in the COVID here on the East Coast. And then also being that we're going into the holiday season.
For
So
sure.
now this is where that real hardcore, like it's about to be Timberland weather out here.
Yep.
And so when you get that Timberland weather on, you got to put that gear on. You do not look like that's the difference between. That's why people on the East Coast look so angry all the time. It's cold out here, shit.
I feel
People
that.
on the East Coast are beautiful. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, man.
And
Yeah.
so
I
when
was
we
born
got
and
that,
raised in, yeah, I was born and raised in Michigan. So like
so
I
you
know
got
about that winter.
you know
Yeah,
about that
man.
hawk. That's what you know about. You know about the hawk, right?
Exactly. Leo, thank you so much, man. You are so generous with your time, man. That was I enjoyed our conversation so much. Like it's so just like utterly apparent that this is what you live and breathe and bleed for.
Uh-huh.
And this is, like you said, this is what keeps you up at night. This is what wakes you up in the morning. This is what keeps you going, man. And
It's a lot of work when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Lot.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it never ends. And it always seems like, once you've reached a level of completion where you can take a moment to feel satisfied about what you're doing, you turn around and bam, like here's a new problem, or here's something else that we got to work on, or here is where while we were working on this was sort of failing. So now let's redo this. And it's a big ship to turn. It's a big ship to turn.
Yeah, and so the way I combat it is, and I thank you for all that. And the way I combat it is, I aspire. First of all, I aspire to be a vessel by which the industry works through. Okay, and I just want to say this. I want to be very clear. I have seen and done the worst that man can do to man. Okay, and when that happens on a continuous basis, such as it played out for me, that changes your value system real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think motorcycles are cool for everybody else but me. I'm just not one of those people. I'm not into the platinum, chains and diamond earrings and Ferraris and Lambos and all that stuff. I think those are really, really cool for other people but me. Okay? Because what's important to me is that, my 14-year-old thinks I'm corny, and my 4-year-old talks to me like I'm small. And so, yeah, I know, and my wife has a PhD in mathematics, okay?
Wow.
And so as a married husband with 2 kids, the times that I get to be 100% right about anything is very few and far between. Hardly ever happens.
Yeah, I feel that.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so, but when it comes to this cannabis thing, I'm 100% right. And so, and when I talk to these politicians and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? They don't even know that I'm right yet. You understand what I'm saying? And the more and more I talk to them, I keep figuring out to what degree, how much more I'm 100% right than them.
Right.
And so, what if you found out, you know what I'm saying, what if you was sitting on this kind of information? What would you do? Sit idly by or start busting your ass like I'm doing? Because if you do what I'm doing, the lights will constantly be on in your head. Because you'll understand that this requires a particular macro and microeconomics way of thinking.
Absolutely.
And if I'm going to be a vessel by which the industry works through, then that means that I need to have interests in almost every aspect of this industry, including ancillary. You see what I'm saying? Because who made the most money during the California gold rush? The people who never even touched the gold.
Right. The people who made the pickaxes.
Exactly. Sold the wood and all that. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, that's what this is. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I think of it as, I want interest in, from the proverbial rooter to the tutor. I want it all.
That. I like that. I like that. Well, man, thank you so much again for all of the work, man, that you're doing, man. Like, I know it's never ending, and you've always got something on your plate, but the people in New Jersey thank you, and the people of the nation and the world will come to thank you. Once history speaks for itself, man. And I thank you so much for being generous with your time, and continue
Absolutely.
to be a Jetson in the world of Flintstones, man, because we need people like you.
Well, I want to leave a gift.
Sure.
A gift for your listeners. If you want, you can catch me. Everything on Facebook, Instagram, everything is Leo Bridgewater. But if you want to see, if you want a glimpse, if you want an idea, if you're kind of curious or kind of serious, then go to www.CWCBExpoinsiders.com and register for our virtual expo from November 17th and 18th. And when you register, use the code Leo100.
Okay.
And that will give you that'll get you a free ticket. So
nice.
Please come on out. Just log in, see what it is, because I do believe that part of the issues with education is that people haven't been exposed. See, you have to change people's frame of reference when they talk about cannabis and hemp, because when you talk about that stuff, people think Cheech and Chong, and we ain't that.
Yeah,
come on,
yeah.
Man. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So, like this right here, I think when you start to expose people, being the fact that you got a lot of people who are at home who are kind of curious, that want to go to kind of serious, or just trying to figure out, this is where you can go to find out, to see what it means to be in the industry and all the things. There's going to be some pretty decent speakers: Bruce Linton, myself, Calvin Fry, a lot of people.
Nice, right on. And that's November 16th and 17th, right?
17th and 18th.
17th and 18th, sorry. And that's at CWCBExpoinsiders.com. And we'll add that in the description for this episode here.
Awesome.
Along with the code Leo 100. We'll add that in there too.
Yep. Yeah, man. Get it out, man. Thanks for having me, man. For real. Anytime you want me to come back, holla at your boy. This was a good one. Look, I got the
good, man. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, man. Like, yeah, it was such a great conversation, and it's so inspiring. I've done, this is the 44th episode I've done of this show. Starting back in March, and I've had the opportunity, of course, to speak to such amazing people in the cannabis industry from all walks of the cannabis industry, all avenues. And it's always, so refreshing and uplifting when I get to come away from a conversation knowing that the person I spoke to really breathes and lives what they're talking about, and puts their words, or puts their actions where their words are, and walks the walk beyond, talking and advocating, because, talking is, of course, the starting point for advocacy, but it's the action behind your words that advocacy really lives. And I just have to say that I know for a fact that as soon as we get done talking here, I will have that feeling of inspiration coming from you. And so I honestly, I thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your perspective.
I'd be red from blushing. Thank you.
I got you. Yeah. No doubt. Honestly. Yeah.
I wish my wife heard that shit. That would have been...
Well, once the episode comes out, you could just cut out that little blurb. Yeah. My thanks again to Leo Bridgewater for joining me. If you are a member of the cannabis community and have a story you want to share with us, we would love to hear from you. You can reach the show at #TRICHOMES.com. You can help others find the show by taking a moment to subscribe to the podcast and write a review. You can also join in the discussion with industry insiders and get your voice heard by joining the community at TRICHOMES.com and following us on all social media. Hash It Out is produced by David Fortin and presented by TRICHOMES.com. I'm RJ Balde. Thanks for listening, y'all.